Hello everyone, Silently here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a very simple and very straightforward music disc or record farm for your Bedrock Edition worlds. As you can see, this is a super simple thing to build up. Should take you less than a couple of minutes to put together. Ideally, this little setup is going to function as an add-on to an existing creeper farm or mob farm in your worlds, but if you don't have a creeper farm, that's fine. You can just build this and then lure some creepers into it. Anyway, as you can see, we just have a skeleton shooting at an iron golem that'll kill any creepers that get in the way of this little feud, and then every single one of those creepers will drop themselves a music disc. You can get yourself 12 different music discs in this way, and of course you also get yourself a little bit of gunpowder as well. Investing a couple of minutes into building up one of these super simple contraptions is by far the best way to get yourself a music disc in Minecraft. It is also by far the most convenient way as well. Trying to do this process manually or have it happen in the wild, incredibly painful. I would not recommend. I've done it before. It is possible. But ideally, if you want some music discs, just build a little contraption. It is so much more convenient. You have no idea until you actually try it. So let's talk about the mechanics of this little system, shall we? It's very basic. We have a captured skeleton over here, and he's going to be trying to shoot at the iron golem. Now, he is always going to miss every single time. He will never hit the golem, and the majority of the arrows will land on these two blocks. Some of them make it a bit further, but that's not a big deal. Now, the only way to get about 85% of the music disc in the game is by having a skeleton shoot and kill yourself a creeper. Of course, you can find a couple of these in dungeons and various structures, but the majority of music discs have to come from this kind of system. So if we drop in a couple of creepers, you'll see that they will get slowly killed by the skeleton. The skeleton is very, very weak, but once he does finally kill him, then of course they will drop the music disc into the chest, as you can see here. Of course, this is a very basic system, but I did decide to include an off switch in case you ever want to stop the skeleton firing at the iron golem, or if you just want to avoid a buildup of these arrows. I also tried looking into ways of destroying these arrows, but basically the only way to destroy them is to allow them to despawn. As you can see, they're despawning right before our eyes. A perfect demonstration. They take 1 minute each, so it's not really that big of a deal. Something very interesting that's not super practical, but you might decide to add this to your build, is that arrows shot by a skeleton can always make creepers drop a music disc. They don't have to hit the creeper first. So for example, they are hitting these slabs, and then we are basically turning that into a trident killer, but instead of a trident, we're using the arrows from these skeletons. So if we look in the chest, you'll see that we got 2 rows empty. We got a whole bunch of arrows on those slabs. We can spawn in a couple of creepers, turn on the arrow killer. As you can see, they're taking a bunch of damage from the arrow killer, and then both of them dropped a music disc as well. So you can actually save the arrows for later and then reuse them all at once to kill your creepers really quickly. The arrows, of course, don't last that long, so you have to act quickly, but this is kind of an interesting thing that you can do and an interesting little mechanic, so I thought I would share it with you guys. And the final thing I have to say about this little farm is the main arguments as to why you should build it in your worlds. I mean, who doesn't want to listen to all of the hit albums of Minecraft, such as Sleuthing Around the Insane Asylum? Being chased through the insane asylum by the crazy scary monster. Adventurer's Funeral. And of course, Actually Pleasant. Now, sadly, this farm cannot give you the best music disc in the game, which would be Pigstep, of course, and if it did, this would be the only farm you are ever allowed to build in your worlds. This tutorial is part of my advent calendar for December of 2020, so every single day in December of 2020, I am releasing a brand new tutorial on the channel for your faces to enjoy, some sort of farm, a contraption, or redstone thing for you to build. Now, arguably, this is one of the smaller and less useful tutorials, but I haven't made one of these since like the first 10 videos on the channel and like in 4 years, so I really wanted to try my hand at it, and hopefully you guys can get something useful out of it. Anyway, if you do enjoy these videos and want to help support the advent calendar, then of course leave a like on the video and maybe share them around with your friends. Doing those two things is incredibly helpful, and of course if you want to see all of the brand new tutorials first before anyone else, then consider subscribing. So how do you actually use this thing? Well, if you're just looking to get yourself one of every music disc or just a couple in your world, then building it just out in a large, dark, flat area like a desert is honestly the easiest way. You will have to lure in the creepers manually using yourself as bait, which might sound really dangerous, but honestly, it's pretty chill. After you've done it a couple times, it's really very easy. Either way, you'll need to add some stairs to the left and to the right side, and you'll likely want a little redstone line to open and close the trapdoors really quickly. So real quickly to demonstrate this thing, we got ourselves a couple of creepers following us. Ideally, you want to damage them a little bit, that way the skeleton kills them faster. Anyway, walk up your stairs, flick the lever, they'll fall down the trapdoors directly into your kill chamber, and then they will be killed by the skeletons. And then, of course, they'll drop their music discs. So it might seem kind of frightful to do, luring creepers into a kill chamber, but honestly, it's really simple. I'm assuming most of you probably don't want to use yourselves as bait for creepers, so if you want to hook this up to a creeper farm or a mob farm, you definitely can. This is a very simple add-on to your mob farm. So as you can see here, we have a mob farm. Just assume that this is a creeper-only farm. It's not. It's a very broken farm from many updates ago, but what you would want for your creeper-only farm is a water platform to collect all the mobs and then shove them into one or several different central collection points for a trident killer or whatever, and then you can redirect those mobs into your music disc farm, as you can see here. But yes, that is all there is to it. So you can indeed hook this up to a creeper farm. The exact process for how you do that is going to vary from farm to farm. There's no one universal tutorial, but basically, if you have a mob farm similar to this one, where you got a water collection, just send them straight on in there. Or what you can do is make yourself a toggle system so that they go into the record farm or they go into your trident killers. Whatever you want to do, it is kind of up to you. And let's hop into the tutorial, shall we? For your convenience, there's going to be a full materials list down in the description of the video so you know exactly what you need to build this in your worlds. You're going to need yourself an 8 wide by 3 deep build area. This is going to be 4 blocks above the ground and 2 blocks below the ground as well. So make sure you got the area marked out for this. And make sure you are planning to either have this out in a very large dark area for mining creepers manually, or you plan on hooking this up to your creeper/mob farm. Anyway, we're going to start in 4 blocks from the left side and install ourselves a double chest. This is of course going to be for your storage. You want 3 hoppers going into it like so, and then go ahead and place slabs above it. Place 2 additional slabs on the right side to catch arrows that go extra far, and now we need to mine down right here by 2 blocks and place in a chest. We're using a chest because that's a very specific height, and it drops down the iron golem just far enough so that it never gets hit by your skeleton. Anyway, we need a temporary block right there and a couple pieces of rail. Place in yourself an iron block and then a minecart underneath that iron block, and then just build yourself an iron golem, pumpkin on top, and bam. Now we can push this guy down on top of that chest, and he's just gonna live there forever. If you're building this out in the open, make sure you protect him and build around him, because skeletons can walk up to him and just shoot him. Now go ahead and place in some temporary blocks right here above the right 2 hoppers, and surround this with glass blocks or solid blocks on all sides. You want to build this up by a couple of blocks at least, just to hold in your creepers. And now on the far right side of this, we're going to place in a sticky piston facing downwards. You may have to click a couple times because his hitbox is kind of large and in the way. Anyway, we're now going to flick that downwards to turn off the farm. You also want to place extra blocks on the back side of there and on the front side as well, just to keep all the items on the inside of the farm. Now go ahead and place down a slab here on the left side and 2 tall walls going all the way around it. And now for the fun part, you got to get yourself a skeleton into a minecart. So find yourself a skeleton, get it into a minecart, build yourself a rail line, and then once you have yourself a rail line, go ahead and push that minecart directly into this hole like so. Make sure you name tag your skeleton as well. You do not want this guy despawning after going through the trouble of capturing him and putting him in the farm. Now you also want to push a lower half slab right above his head using a piston, and that is now your skeleton in place. If we unflick this lever, we should see him immediately shoot at the iron golem. If he doesn't, that means that he is targeting you or another player. If all the players in the area relog or just leave the area, then he should start aiming directly at the iron golem. And that is your music disc farm now completely done. The rest is up to you, how you configure this with your creeper farm or how you set it up out in the open. That is going to be up to you. There is a lot of ways to customize this. This is just a basic module that you can then add on to whatever projects you have in mind. Now, a couple additional details that you may be interested in is this is the exact layout for the trapdoors. As you can see, it's just right here at the 2 blocks. If you're building this out in the open, of course, you want a staircase for the player to escape, your lever at the very end of it, and then wherever you're planning on leading the creepers up these staircases, you will want some railings, so that way they don't fall off the edges and sneak around you and surprise you or something. If you happen to want your creepers to die from a one shot from your skeleton, you need to drop them 22 blocks exactly. That is how weak skeletons are. I really wish we could give these guys power 5 bows. And if you would like to build the arrow killer, all you need is 2 sticky pistons behind your slabs in the middle, yourself a repeater clock, and then I just have an additional lever at the top specifically to control that. The trick with this is to allow the skeleton to build up a supply of arrows over the course of a minute, then turn on the arrow killer, and then drop in your creepers. I don't know why you would want to do this. It's not particularly useful for any reason, but it might be kind of fun for you. I don't know, it's mostly just a quirky mechanic. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's little Bedrock Edition tutorial, then of course let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always trying to help you out as much as I possibly can. And also, if you enjoyed today's video and want to see a lot more of them in the future, then of course make sure to subscribe so you see all the future tutorials on the channel first and before anyone else. If you just enjoyed the video but don't want to subscribe, then of course make sure to leave a like and possibly share around the videos. Those 2 things do a massive amount for the channel. Thank you so much for doing so. Otherwise, I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. And then there was silence.